Letting go will set you free. Letting go and releasing your grip on old stories, roles, grudges, all of it will set you free, will lighten your load, will help you feel clearer and cleaner and more like yourself. It's worth understanding how to let go. I've been there. I've done it. I'm still doing it. I feel so much better now having released my grip on how I used to be, who I used to be, what I used to hold on to, all of that. It's one of the most important things that we can do to help us to wake up is to learn to let go. My name is Cara Bradley. This is Sparked. On Sparked, I talk about waking up. I talk about living a more honest life, a more intentional life, about not carrying all the old ways of being along with us as we become more alive, as we feel more awake. So letting go is probably the most important step. And today I want to share 3 ways, really simple ways, to at least get started in letting go, in putting down the baggage, in feeling more unstuck, in moving into our future instead of just living in our past. The issue is that we carry our past around us in a backpack. We carry all of our stories, our grudges, our beliefs, our roles, things we've done, success, failures, all of it. We put it all in that backpack and we carry it around all day long, every day for years and decades. And it starts to weigh us down. It starts to hold us back. And these stories and these grudges and all of these things that we're carrying around, they start to calcify. They become patterns of who we are. It becomes who we are. We carry our past on our backs, hauling it around for everyone to see, pretty much. I've learned that by peeling back these layers of the onion, by letting go story after story, role after role, belief after belief, I have become lighter. I still have plenty more to do, but I want to share with you the importance of at least starting this process. So the first way, probably the most obvious, not easy, but maybe obvious, are our stories. We carry our stories around with us. We repeat them. We infuse them into conversation. They stay alive because we keep repeating them. And a lot of our stories reveal our beliefs. For instance, I'm not good at tech. I'm not athletic. I'm not smart enough. Somehow, some way that gets infused into conversation, or at least in your own conversation with yourself. Stories can also be what you've done in the past, what you can't put down, what you hold onto for dear life. So one of mine was that I kept talking about how I was a yoga studio owner. And it was a huge part of my past. But I kept infusing it into conversations. It kept staying very much alive. It will always be a part of who I am, but I don't need to keep talking about it. And so I did this work. I really started to look at myself and how often I brought up the subject. I talk about it in my last video at the link below. And you can do this too. And the first step is to just become aware of what you're saying and to catch yourself, right? So think about one thing that you feel like, I got to stop telling this story. I've got to stop repeating this. Think about it for a moment. And then start to become aware, like hyper aware, when you're in conversation with others and when you're talking to yourself. And just start to catch yourself. Be kind, be loving. This is a process. This is a practice. And it's not going to happen overnight. If you've been repeating something over and over for years and decades, it's going to take some time to stop doing. But it is worth trying. Because letting go of that story, letting go of that belief, recognizing that this isn't who I am anymore, or this is just not true, it's like taking one of those big weights out of the backpack. It makes you feel lighter. Like, oh, I can now be who I am today. I don't need to keep repeating who I was back then. The second way we can start to let go is to look at how we're carrying around old roles and identities. Now, if you've lived long enough, like me, you will have a lot of roles: mother, daughter, friend, ex-wife, wife, partner, leader, hamburger flipper. Seriously, we have a lot of roles in our past. We don't have to keep carrying them around with us in that backpack. We can put them down. Again, they're always going to be part of who we are, but we don't have to identify as being that person anymore. So for me, I was a professional rollerblader for Team Rollerblade, traveling the world performing on skates. It was huge fun and a huge part of who I was. And I stopped doing it in my late 20s. And I carried it with me for many years. It was who I was, a professional skater. And I started to realize I have to put this down in order to make room for the next. In order for me to step into who I wanted to be in the future, because it wasn't going to be a professional skater, I needed to let her go. And again, she lives in me always and forever, but I don't need to talk about it. It doesn't need to be front and center when I'm describing who I am and what I do and what my life is about. And over the years, I've become very aware of when it seeps into conversation, and I've let that go. I've let that role go. And I'm also letting go of that role, as I said before, of yoga studio owner. It was a huge part of who I was, but it's not who I am. So think about it in your own life. Maybe you were a former athlete, a former CEO, a former wife, a former husband. Think about it, and then start again to become aware of when it seeps into your mind, into your conversations, into how you express who you are. Does it sneak in to your current state of being? And it's okay if it does every once in a while. We've carried these roles with us. It's going to take some time to put them down. So again, awareness is key. It's the practice. Just become aware, be kind. As you see it continue to bubble up, and you can just say, that's not who I am anymore. You could say that to yourself. You could say it to somebody else. Yes, but that's not who I am anymore. This is how we lighten the load. It's how we let go of the baggage. It's how we start to see other areas in our lives that we need to let go of. As you start to let go of some of the small things, and then they become the bigger things, and then they become the roadblocks in your life that have kept you stuck and kept you hiding. This is what I'm experiencing. So the last one that we're going to talk about today are grudges. Grudges and betrayals, these are biggies because we carry them in our mind and we carry them in our emotional being. They become really fixed patterns. Somebody wronged you. Something happened, an unfairness. Something happened in your life and you just carry that with you in your backpack and you're not going to put it down because it's who you are and it's how you feel alive. Can you tell I've been there before? I definitely have been there when I sold my business. Oof, it was not pretty. There was betrayal. There was unfairness. I felt insulted. I felt disregarded. I was hurt. I was frustrated. It wasn't fair. I was pissed off for a long time, years. I carried this with me in this little section of my body, this tension, this anger. And I knew I have to let this go because there is no way I'm going to be able to move forward in my life and do other things and feel freer and lighter and cleaner unless I let it go. And it wasn't overnight. I wrote about it in my journal. I told a friend the entire story from beginning to end so that I could just express it one more time so it can finally get the air it needed to then dissipate and be gone. So what's that grudge you're holding on to? You know it. It's right there at the tip of your tongue. Start to become aware of how it bubbles up, aware of how it grips you, aware of how often you need to keep it alive by just talking about it. These are simple, they're not easy, and they are so worth it. If you want to feel awake and alive, if you want to feel more free and hopeful, if you want to really step into who you want to become in this lifetime, then you need to let go. I needed to let go, and I still have more. As we start to uncover through stories, through letting go of roles, through really allowing the grudges to finally be buried, as we do this, we start to see more. We start to recognize more things that no longer fit in our lives. Other ways that we are habitually moving through life. This is how we wake up. This is how we see life clearly, brilliantly, as it is right now, without the clouds hovering over us, without the heavy baggage that we've been carrying. So your challenge today is to name one of those things: a story, a belief, an old identity, a grudge, a betrayal, something, just name it. Carry it with you. Start to look at how it is still so alive in your conversations, in your inner conversations, in how you move through the world. Just be aware. That's the key. Awareness is the first step to letting go of it. Let me know in the comments what you're letting go of. Share with others. It's how we learn from one another. Thanks for watching this all the way through to the end. Please be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.